Why do we have at times a hard time brewing a good cup of coffee? It shouldn't be this difficult in order to brew a cup of good coffee. So should brewing the cup of coffee in order to get a good cup of coffee, should it be difficult? Sometimes you just want it easy. Yeah, you want it on easy mode. Sometimes we just want those easy victories to where we're just drinking a cup of coffee and we can move on with our day. Hello? I think we're doing pretty good right now. Let's go ahead and plunge this coffee down and we're going to get into the show, the topic and all that good stuff, okay? That looks pretty cool. Okay, we're going to stop it right there, okay? Look at it, no drip. Fuck. Awesome stuff. I'm using the AeroPress valve stopper thingy. I was told to use it from a couple people in the last video that I did about AeroPress. We live right now. And we're doing great. I hope you're doing great. All is well with me. So, what are we doing here? I thought about this topic for a while. Not for a while, just a couple of days. And I thought it would be very interesting to talk about. So now we're going to be drinking this particular coffee. Okay, so the topic of today is kind of interesting. I don't know if anybody's really talked about it, or at least in this way, is the difficulty or complexity, I can't really talk, of the brew. As you saw just now, or just heard what I just said just now, was I brewed a cup of the AeroPress. I used the one-way valve, which is pretty cool. It's a really nice, better experience with dealing with the AeroPress. I did a light roast coffee, the one that I roasted about a week and a half ago now. So it's nicely matured and everything and all that stuff. So I'm going really deep into this rabbit hole of figuring things out as we get closer to understanding light roast and how it helps us understand the brewer itself, the AeroPress, right? So the reason why I thought about that topic is because about a month and a half ago, I did a YouTube video, which will probably be coming out in the next couple of weeks. I haven't worked on it yet. Is where I paired the kin grinder together with the Ethiopian coffee that I was using at the time. And the video pretty much talks about how hard or how difficult it is to have a decent cup of coffee from Ethiopia. That's really one of the regions that really got me to get so involved into coffee. And I'm sure that's a lot of people that I talk to a lot. They're like Ethiopian coffee, African coffee, Kenyan coffees and all that stuff. So I was able to taste and have that appreciation for Ethiopian coffee. I brewed it so many different ways. But I guess what I'm getting at right now is that the reason why I was frustrated or talked about it so much was because it shouldn't be this difficult in order to brew a cup of good coffee. And in this case, it was Ethiopian coffee. Since you are hopefully enjoying the video, you like, subscribe. So it kind of gave me or pushed me down this thought process of like, why do we have at times a hard time brewing a good cup of coffee? Great is on a different level. We'll probably talk about that another time and everything. But right now, what we're dealing with, what we want to strive to more than anything, is how do we enjoy a good cup of coffee? I brewed this coffee at 180 degrees. Excuse me. I brewed this cup at 180 degrees. I stirred it for about a couple seconds, 5-6 seconds. Damn. Let me take a swig of this. This is not cool, but whatever. I'm not cutting this. This is raw, as I say. I did a couple stirs. I waited for about a minute after I actually did the stir. There's no leakage. So it was more so like a full immersion type of brew, okay? Wow, something's wrong with me. And then I plunged down the coffee as if it was like a French press, but it's AeroPress because it actually has some pressure with it. And now I'm drinking it. It's still relatively hot. damn, it's still relatively hot. And I'm analyzing the coffee. And I'm wondering if it's the coffee. I'm wondering if it's the temperature that I brewed this coffee at. I'm wondering if it's the brew method. I'm wondering where I probably went wrong, because it's not tasting what I would think that this coffee should taste like. I think about if it's me. I think about if something I did in the process didn't gel with this particular coffee. And then I start to think about the difficulty or the ease of brewing a cup of coffee. Is it the coffee? Meaning the way that the farmer, grower, producer processed the coffee. Is it a defect that I'm mostly drinking and not really realizing that of the information that I do get from the importer? Or is this coffee just fine? I just have a different type of palate now that when I don't taste what I need to taste, I quickly am discouraged with the coffee. Those are some of the things that I think about at times whenever I'm drinking a cup of coffee, especially when it doesn't really gel the way that I think that it should. I don't know if you go through that, or if you go through times to where it is what it is. You'll drink the coffee for what it is and you move on and move on. I mean, you move on and then you get it something else, which is perfectly fine. I'm sure that's what we all do, right? But I guess the biggest thing that I'm really trying to understand more than anything is like, why should brewing a cup of coffee be difficult? Think about that. It shouldn't really be difficult. I know there's certain different aspects of coffee brewing that come out, but we're all working with the same level playing field, meaning that we are knowledgeable in the way that we brew coffee. We understand the dynamics, the chemistry of what goes on when you're actually brewing a cup of coffee. We have our own different expertise. We have something that we care about more than others. And what I'm talking about is either in the roast degree, the type of beans and the way they were actually processed, and also the type of brewer that we like to use. Truly, I'm going to figure out this whole this AeroPress thing. And I do believe that it does produce a better light roasted coffee, at least for me right now, as I go to this rabbit hole of truly really figuring it out. But currently, as this coffee is, I purposely made sure that I just made a cup of coffee with without any type of special recipe. And this is what I'm feeling. These are the emotions that I'm feeling right now, and just because of the time that I've gone through in order to make this cup of coffee. Don't get me wrong, I've been loving and enjoying a lot of the coffees that I've been making lately. Of course, I think the Hario V60, once you got it down, it's a cheat, because you can just make whatever recipe. You may get different things out of it, but I think that's part of the thing too, is like it's kind of cool to where you can just do any basic recipe and the coffee comes out just fine. Those are some of the things that I think about when it comes to coffee making, because at the end of the day, it's fun to make the coffees, but we're really chasing the outcome, the results, the thing that really gets us going. We're like drinking the actual fucking coffee. And those are some of the things that I think about a lot. So should brewing the cup of coffee, in order to get a good cup of coffee, should it be difficult or should it be easy? Or it depends on the coffee. Do you use that as more so like a challenge in order for you to truly really enjoy and understand what you're doing in a coffee? Because right now, it's not that case for me for this coffee. Let's drink some more as it cools. It should get better, but we'll see. It's still pretty hot. There's some like oaky type of taste to it right now, and more so the acidity comes in. But now that I'm thinking about it, if the acidity is coming in, it could be more so the grind size that I use. Probably that unpleasant acidity that I don't really like in coffee, like the grapefruit rind type taste. That's what I'm tasting right now. That's probably more so why it's off-putting to me. What can I do differently? There's so many things I can do differently. But again, it gets back to, why is it so hard to brew a good cup of coffee sometimes? Sometimes you just want it easy. Yeah, you want it on easy mode. Sometimes you just want to put the coffee. Think about it. If the Mr. Coffee worked the way that it was intended to, for a majority of us, we probably wouldn't have gone any other directions. Meaning, if we were able to put a bag of coffee that's a month and a half old, that's pre-ground from your local grocery store or even on Amazon, and you just put the coffee in there, you just put some water in there, and magically something amazing comes out, we wouldn't have got all these gadgets and all this stuff and delve into better beans and fresher beans and different processes and all that stuff, different brewers that highlight different things and all that good stuff. We wouldn't have gone down that rabbit hole. But even though we've gone down that rabbit hole, we still go through the same thing as anybody else would go through. Even using a basic machine like a Mr. Coffee machine, as we go through that with either a percolator, go through it with an AeroPress, even at times, depending on how fresh the beans are, with hard V60, how the bed kind of looks wonky and that kind of messes around with the extraction. But why is it so hard sometimes for us to get there? And I guess the biggest thing that I'm really understanding, at least trying to understand right now, is the understanding of where things probably went wrong and how we can change it, manipulate it in order to probably coax and get the flavors that we want to. Those are the things that I look forward to doing. I don't mind the journey of figuring out this coffee and then enjoying it, the best light that it is. Even this may be the best light. What are some of the things that I can take from it? Those are some of the things that I think about constantly when I'm brewing, trying to get to a good cup of coffee. That's all we're really talking about here. And as we delve deeper into this understanding of our knowledge and our recipes and ourselves, what are we really talking about here? I know that I'm looking at this as a psycho. Like, who really thinks about things like this when it comes to just making fucking coffee, right? I do. And I'm sure you probably do too at times. But I do think that it shouldn't be this difficult to make a good cup of coffee. But we do have those challenges in times to where it is difficult. Like, for instance, I'm a hard ass. I haven't changed that grind setting at all with that hand grinder. I may do a series about it, but I think I can literally use that exact same grind size for every coffee in order to make some good cup of coffee by changing other variables. Probably I should change the actual grind size to where it's a little bit coarser. Something like that. It could be just me just not willing to change the things that I need to, or I'm just being lazy because for the most part, anything that I do throw at the Hario V60, at least lately, it's a good cup of coffee. So those are some of the things that we have to go through and understand and figure out and get to the point to where we are really wanting to discover what is great in this cup of coffee, because that's what it's really about. How can we get to the conversation to where this coffee is highlighted best that way? It could be also the roaster or the person who's selling you the coffee, telling you this is a good starting place. It could be that too. But at the end of the day, I'm not in your house. You're making the cup of coffee for yourself, things that you like in the coffee, probably whatever that was said on that bag or read on that bag. That's more interesting to what you want to do with that coffee, the applications that you want to present yourself, your palate, your friends and family too. Those are some of the things that I constantly think about. And at the end of the day, I may just be thinking about this all wrong. Probably you don't have an issue with a challenging coffee. Probably you don't mind the struggles, the challenge, the heartache of figuring out that bag of coffee. But sometimes I'm sure, at least for me, I'm sure you're probably the same way. Tell me if I'm right or wrong, is that you do like those easy victories. Sometimes it is just brewing a cup of coffee with whatever basic recipe that you've developed over time or you found online. And it just works. It just works for any coffee, right? That's kind of like where I'm at with a lot of this stuff. So I don't think it's there yet. It's still underwhelming, especially as what I don't care about in light roast. But I guess before we end off on this and everything is that if the coffee doesn't taste the way that we think that it should, based off the notes that are on the bag or the perceived nature that we do have in all of this, I think it probably still comes back to us understanding brewing. We don't have to understand roasting, but we have to understand brewing. We have to understand that whatever we're tasting, especially we have the grinder, the brewer, and a temperature variable kettle. If we have those three things, then we have enough things in order to probably get the best out of that coffee. So I think it kind of comes back to that, kind of like putting the mirror back on us to be like, the reason why this coffee is sucking to me is because I'm not willing to go down that rabbit hole of changing a couple of variables to see if I can get there. Don't get me wrong, the coffee fucking sucks. It sucks. It's okay to call it out for what it is. But I think what we're really trying to understand and gather for the most part is that sometimes we just want an easy brewing type of coffee. Something that tastes great. Whichever way we do make coffee, we may make mistakes when we're doing our protocol. We're probably not exact to the ratio that we like to do or taste our coffee. We may have gone over the ridges, in this case for the Hario V60. Whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. Sometimes we just want those easy victories to where we're just drinking a cup of coffee and we can move on with our day. Those are some of the things that I think about a lot. And at times, it is victorious. It does feel good when you actually you spend that time trying to figure out this coffee as much as you can. But, easy victories. That's all we want sometimes. So, that's me, Oki at Everyday Beans, talking about something, probably nothing. But those are some of the things that I think about I don't know if you do, but let's talk about it. Talk to you later. Bye.